conflict in Syria goes waterborne. For the first time, rebel gunmen in dinghies attack a military unit on the Mediterranean coast. 4 foreigners have been arrested in Sudan, accused of spying for South Sudan. Juba denies the allegations, while the United Nations confirmed one of those taken is working for the UN. And a week ahead of the second round of French presidential elections, Nicolas Sarkozy just can't shake attacks from the media. Find out the latest developments in just a few moments. Those are the headlines. Thanks for joining us here in the France 24 newsroom in Paris. I'm Helen Percival. For the first time since the conflict in Syria began more than a year ago, rebels have carried out their first water assault. Gunmen attacked ships belonging to the regime, causing deaths on both sides. Meanwhile, Lebanon says its navy has seized weapons destined for Syrian rebels carried in ships reportedly from Libya. Well, as we've just heard there, South Sudan have said they will withdraw troops from the disputed Abyei region. But as France 24's James Andre explains, they'll only do this if certain conditions are met. To Kuala Lumpur now, where at least 30,000 protesters took to the streets on Saturday demanding electoral reform. With elections expected in June, the ruling National Front, in power for more than 50 years, is accused of having too much control over how elections take place. A week ahead of the second round of presidential elections here in France, all sorts of stories are coming out of the woodwork. On Saturday, the website Mediapart reported that former Libyan strongman Muammar Gaddafi funded Nicolas Sarkozy's 2007 election campaign to the tune of €50 million. A spokesperson for Sarkozy dismissed the report as, quote, ridiculous and a clumsy diversion orchestrated by Hollande's camp. Well, that's not the only allegation that Sarkozy is defending himself against at the moment. The former IMF boss, Dominic Strauss-Kahn, once tipped to become the next president of France, told a British newspaper that his very public fall from grace last year, following a sexual encounter with hotel maid Nafissatou Diallo, was choreographed by his political enemies. Let's listen to Sarkozy's response. We'll be back in 20 minutes.